This is Vince Miller. Thank you so much for joining me for this devotional. Today we begin Daniel chapter 11, which means we only got 2 chapters left, which means we got to decide what book of the Bible we're doing next. So here we jump from Old Testament to New Testament and back and forth. Next, we're going to be doing 1 Timothy. So run to the website today, grab your scripture journal of 1 Timothy so that you're ready to go when we start. I don't know when I'm going to start. I just got to get through these last couple of chapters. It may take me a week or more. So with that, chapter 11 is one of the greatest chapters of the Bible. It's at least in the top 10 for sure. This chapter declares predictions more than 100 years before they ever happened. In fact, there's dozens and dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of specific predictions in this chapter. All right. And this chapter is so specific that liberal critics of the Bible actually don't know what to do with it. They contest that the only way this chapter could have been written with the kind of accuracy that we can read is if it was written after the fact, which we know is not the case because Daniel wrote this book during his lifetime as the events occurred, not 100 years later. So in context, today, as we begin chapter 11, there's this angelic being who has come to be with Daniel, probably Gabriel, since Gabriel has visited him in the past. And Gabriel has come to Daniel to explain some future events and put him at peace by giving him some clarity. So here's what this angelic being says. He says, "And now I will show you, Daniel, the truth. Behold, 3 more kings shall arise in Persia, and a 4th shall be far richer than all of them." That, of course, is Xerxes. "And when he has become strong through his riches, he shall stir up against the kingdom of Greece." So the next empire. "Then a mighty king shall arise from Greece," and we know that to be Alexander the Great, "who shall rule with great dominion and do as he wills. And as soon as he has arisen, his kingdom shall be broken and divided toward the 4 winds of heaven, but not to his posterity, nor according to the authority with which he ruled, for his kingdom shall be plucked up and go to others besides these." Now, guys, this text is extremely clear about what God is going to do in the future. Yet I do have to say that in life, we all have moments that it's very unclear about what God is going to do in the future. We can experience this lack of clarity on multiple levels in our life. For example, sometimes it's a lack of clarity or confusion in our personal life brought about by disruptive events, right? Or other times it's confusion about what's happening in the world brought about by global events like we've experienced over the last couple of years. And when we don't understand God's plan, we can quickly become overwhelmed. But in this text, Daniel, who, by the way, is overwhelmed, is going to be told God's plan. Gabriel tells him the whole thing from beginning to end. He tells him exactly how things are going to play out in the future. He tells him about nations and riches and wars and leaders and events in the future that, by the way, he's never going to see. And to some degree, I think knowing this was overwhelming on a whole other level. I mean, seriously. I would assume that he goes from being overwhelmed by the event of the vision to being overwhelmed by understanding the meaning of the vision. This is because knowing God is overwhelming, period, right? But even though God is overwhelming, we can know this from chapter 11. He's got a plan, he's working the plan, and we need to trust his plan. So today, when you get frustrated or overwhelmed or confused or maybe lack clarity about the future, preach this to yourself. God's got a plan, and if I knew it, I'd be more overwhelmed than I am right now, okay? So just stick with this plan, fellas, and don't be overwhelmed. Be overwhelmed by God himself and trust his plan. I love you guys. Thanks so much for joining me. I pray this blesses you, and if it has, bless someone else, and I'll see you right back here again tomorrow.